What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sneaker Homegirls podcast. I'm Rossetti Gutierrez-Uy.
And I am Maria DiMaggio Hickman. We're two Las Vegas realtors blending real estate, hustle, and sneaker culture all in one place.
If you're into real estate, entrepreneurship, and making big moves, you're in the right spot.
We're breaking down market trends, sharing behind-the-scenes stories, and giving you the game on how to build wealth through real estate.
And of course, we're talking sneakers, culture, and how we stay fresh while handling business.
So hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. This is the Sneaker Homegirls podcast. Welcome, everybody, and we have such great things to talk about today. Today, we are celebrating the start of the NFL football season. I'm in my Lions.
I'm in my Bears jersey.
Yucky Bears. But anyway, we are here to talk a little bit about football, a little bit about rates, and a lot about housing. So let's get to it.
So the NFL just announced something about a new roster that you were mentioning about. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So last week they went down to a 53-man roster, which means a lot of people got cut and told that it was time for them to go home, which is sad. Kevin and I actually have a friend of ours whose son was on the Dallas Cowboys as a tight end, and he got released. So it's always sad because, you know, you work so hard through college to get there, and then you get onto an NFL team and you get a chance to earn a spot. And it's not always because you're not good enough or, you know, something went wrong. It's just a lot of times it can come down to numbers. Like they're only going to hold so many people in your position and you're just the last one. So you happen to get cut. Hopefully he gets picked up by another team. But you know, a lot of people think the NFL life is just all this glitz and glamour and all this fun stuff that goes on. And it is. It has a really good vibe going on for all those players. But not many people think about the ones who are working their asses off to earn a position and then get told, no, we're going to go with somebody else. It's a sad day because these guys have tried their whole life to be football players. You think about probably from the age they were 5 years old on up, football has been their dream. So those guys I encourage to keep going and not give up because there's other teams that may want them. There's film from preseason that other teams can watch and possibly have a fit for them in their organization. But it's a sad day when you get cut from football. Kevin and I had been through that during his years, and it just sucks. You know, it hurts their manhood. It hurts their ego, you know, and then as the wife, you're kind of going, oh shit, what are we going to do? Like we have no paycheck coming in anymore. And so that's why they say too, like the NFL stands for not for long, because most guys' careers, and it's sad, but most guys' careers are about 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, you get in there and you're making really good money. Even as a rookie, I think the salary is like around $700,000 just for a rookie. So that's not even somebody who's like signed an actual contract. And you can get in debt real fast making that kind of money, spending it big time, and then all of a sudden the checks stop. It's like, oh, wow, what are we going to do? Where are you going to make that kind of money outside of football to pay for all the things that you've purchased? So there is a lot of statistics that show that NFL players end up broker on that back end than they did when they went into the NFL. Got to do a little bit better job with teaching these guys how to manage their money and teaching them what to do when they come into all this money. I think there's programs out there, but I think a lot of the guys just think it's never going to happen to them, right? It's like, I'm going to play forever. I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the one. So anyway, but that's the sad part about football is getting cut and then being, you know, kind of SOL when it comes to money. But the good part about it is that football's starting.
Yay!
I'm so excited.
Do you play any fantasy football leagues?
Yeah. So my family and I have one.
Oh my goodness. With your brother?
No, not with my brother, with my kids.
Oh, nice.
So the kids and Kevin and I have one that we do. This year it's going to be tough because now Anthony's playing in college, and so he doesn't really have a whole lot of time. But if you want to do it right, you have to like research. You got to know what players on IR, what players, you know, starting, who has a bye. Like so many times I've gotten lazy and not like fixed my stuff, and 2 of my teams will have a bye week and then I don't earn any points on them. And
oh,
I'm like,
no.
Shit. So, you know, whatever. But if fantasy's fun, it makes it. Do you ever play?
Yes. So probably for the last, like, since I was in college, I've played like fantasy football leagues. Like the hospitality would always have like our league. It's maybe like a $20 buy-in or something. Some of them aggressive ones are like $100.
Yeah.
And it's always a lot of fun, but you do have to keep up with it. And I feel that now with everything with real estate, I just haven't.
Yeah.
I'd like to maybe start that maybe next year again, because to manage it and to run it is a decent amount of time as well.
Yeah, you got to do the research if you want to win. Yeah, for
and I'm
sure.
very competitive.
Yes.
So I need to know like who's good and who's not good.
Yeah.
There's a few podcasts that I listen to for, football season to kind of help me out a little bit. It's funny always like throwing in like short statistics, and guys like, they'll like look at me like,
How do you know?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I watch football. Okay.
Well, now too, I don't know if you saw the podcast that Taylor Swift did with Travis and his brother Jason.
What did they do?
So they have their own podcast, Travis and Jason do. It's called New Heights. They're actually from where we lived in Shaker Heights in Ohio, right by us. And so they call it New Heights, I think, based off of Shaker Heights, their hometown. But they had Taylor Swift on, and she was talking about like how she had to totally learn football. She knew nothing about football. She didn't know what a tight end was, which is what what Travis plays. And so she kind of went on, and then she goes, football is Travis and I, we have very similar jobs. And Jason's like, well, how is that? And she goes, well, we both play in stadiums. We both sell out stadiums. His practice is like my rehearsal. His game is like my concert. It's very similar. And I'm thinking to myself, but you're the one selling out the whole stadium for you. It takes 2 full team rosters to sell out a stadium for them.
Yeah.
A little different. But anyway, it was cute just to see like her like trying to learn football.
I don't remember what it was a few years ago for Super Bowl. Maybe it was Taylor Swift or some other celebrity. It was like the biggest turnout they've had for the Super Bowl here in Vegas, right? They put the stage on the Bellagio fountains. It was like a big ordeal. But since so many celebrities came in, all the airports were full. So I'm pretty sure Taylor Swift had to drive here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in like general public like area, you just see like Taylor Swift's entourage come through, because North Las Vegas was filled, City of Henderson Executive was filled, and like Harry Reid was completely filled. Like if you wanted to land a private plane, you had to like go somewhere out.
Oh, wow.
Because there was nowhere else to land. And then if you don't have anywhere to land, you're just like circling. And you gotta have enough gas for that.
Yeah.
So I really am excited for how much more our city is involved with football, and being able to like catch the games as they play the Raiders here. I think that's done a lot for our community.
Yeah. Have you been to a Raiders game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the Raiders stadium. The tour is actually really cool in there. I think it was like $3 million. I don't remember how total it was to build that, but I just love sports in our city. Like
Yeah.
I really do. Like growing up in here, we didn't have anything. Like it was just like the hockey team, and that was it. And pushing for hockey was a big deal for our city, but bringing football here, especially all the people coming from California, I think it brings back community.
Yeah.
Supporting each other and tailgating is my favorite.
Tailgates. You know what I find too? It was interesting with the Golden Knights being a brand new franchise and it just being Vegas's home team. Versus bringing the Raiders here. When I go to the Raiders games, whatever the opposing team is like the home team. Mm-hmm. So like the Kansas City Chiefs, I went to a Pittsburgh Steeler game. It was like Pittsburgh Steeler fans everywhere. Because if you're from Pittsburgh and they're playing against your team, why would you not want to go to Vegas for the weekend, right? And so until Vegas becomes Raider fans, I think it's always going to be like that. Like it feels like away games when you go. But the Golden Knights, they like got a love from the city right away. And I think it was because they were a brand new organization. Like they were truly Vegas's team, where I think a lot of people still think of the Raiders as Oakland.
Yeah.
So it's hard to embrace, especially they had such a bad reputation when they were in Oakland. They were like the bad boys, the thug team. It was like, yeah, crazy.
I think the controversy is the same with baseball too, because we took the A's as well. Even though the Aviators are the A's minor league.
Oh, they are. I
They
didn't know that.
So when they came here, for me, it, franchise-wise, that kind of makes sense. But for the community, I think they were expecting, similar to the Golden Knights, to have like a brand new franchise. But I mean, to launch a brand new franchise is not like easy to do.
Exactly.
Right? So
Yep.
it takes a lot. I know that when they brought the Golden Knights out here, it took a lot of signatures. It took a lot of deposits just to even get them in the city.
Right.
And approve those permits from the county, right?
Yeah.
And know that it's going to give back to the community, not just make money. Because right now, tourism is down. But every time someone tells me that, I say small business is up.
Yeah.
So, that's what they don't tell you in the headlines. However, there are hundreds of thousands of maids, chefs, dishwashers that are out of jobs, not out of jobs, but less hours because tourism is down, which is why we have our unions and stuff. So
Yeah.
I always think that's interesting when the shifts in the economy happen over the summer, because you can kind of see where people are spending their money.
Yeah.
And then also, I know that the union has housing programs where they're able to help you get into a home too. So if you work in the hospitality industry, or you're in the culinary union, some of the benefits are probably one of the best. And also, they help you get into a home if you're not contributing to your 401k. So I thought that's really nice to be able to kind of stack aside money for you and enjoy the benefits of it, and go to games.
Yeah, that is really nice. I know I heard that tourism is down too, so now's a great time to come to Vegas because it's probably not jam-packed down there like craziness.
It's 80 degrees today too.
I know, it's so nice.
Nice.
Well, guess what else is going to be down, baby? Rates.
Rates did drop over the weekend,
Yes.
but they came right back up.
Yeah. But with Powell about to make a cut, we could be starting to see finally them starting to go down a little bit, which is going to put a spark in our economy. I'm super excited. But when do you think we're really going to see it?
I mean, listen, there are so many home buyers out there that know they qualify. What I always advise clients or customers to do is to just keep in touch with your lender. Like if you are able to qualify and rates are at this amount, then if rates go down, that's great for you. But there are a lot of buyers that sit in this not quite qualified zone, and then when you drop rates, now they qualify, right? So they have more intention than they do with the people who are actually qualified, right? The people that are here that I feel are fully underwritten, qualified, good job, good credit, they just don't want to. And I always advise people to connect with whoever you need to make sure that decision is right for you, because it might not be, right? Or it is,
right?
And you're just like, what does Josh always say? Like the fear, like it's you feel fear, right? But that's fear,
when to act.
That's when you act and create great opportunities for you, because in this market right now, especially in Las Vegas, there are a lot of people that would love to own. So many people that would love to own. They're not quite happy about the idea of paying a mortgage payment that's higher than their rent.
Right.
But if you take the monthly, so whatever you pay, and then in 12 months, in 3 years, your average person pays $330,000 worth of rent before they own.
Right.
So, a $500,000 loan sounds a little scary, but if you rent for 3 years and you pay $330,000, you're paying that on their mortgage.
Yeah.
Right? That's at a higher mortgage, of course. There's other people that are in good scenarios right now. Like I always tell my clients, that they're paying low rent, they're not in a bad place.
Right.
However, you're still kind of just giving money, right? It's like an admission fee when you go to Disneyland. You don't get that money back.
Right. Well, at least at Disneyland you get an experience, right? You're paying somebody's mortgage down and you're helping their equity grow. And that's such a good point when you think about it. Like, just think about that in your head. If you are renting right now, you are literally helping somebody else get richer while you get poor. How does that make sense? You know what I mean? It just doesn't. And I know some people are like, oh, you don't know my situation. I'm not going to be able to get approved. Okay, maybe right at this moment you can't get approved. That could be a possibility. But get started now, working with a lender to get you ready so that when your lease is up, you can finally buy. People wait to the last minute, and then all of a sudden they're still in the exact same spot that they were 6 months ago, and then they still can't buy. And then they got to re-sign another year lease, and they get in this terrible loop and they can't ever get out of it.
I feel like there's two sides of the spectrum. I like to say spectrum. One spectrum is emotionally ready. I'm emotionally ready to buy this house. I'm emotionally ready to sign this contract. I'm emotionally ready to conduct inspections and tell my family and move my stuff, buy furniture and things. There's that side of the spectrum. The second side of the spectrum is fiscally ready. I have good credit. I have money for a down payment. I have closing costs money. I have a good job. I have a decent amount of money saved. My mom wants me to give me a gift, you know, like things like that. And it's interesting that these people know exactly how to get a home. And these people are just scared.
Right.
But if you bring them together,
yes,
you can make a better decision for yourself. Because at the end of the day, it could be your first home, it could be your 10th home, it could be your, retirement home, whatever that is. It's the same feeling of going through the steps, which is why you hire a great team.
Yeah. And it's funny. I just had a conversation yesterday with a client who we've been looking for a house for him for a while. And because I know him on a personal level and I know what he's got going on, I told him yesterday, it's not the right time for you to buy. I'm going to tell you right now, emotionally, you've got way too much going on that needs your undivided attention. And buying a house is a stress. As easy as we can make it, there are just still things that are going to stress people out. And if you are not emotionally available for that stress, it's not going to be a pleasant situation. And I just told him, look, rates are starting to go down. There's no super huge rush. You don't have to buy the house tomorrow. We have time. Get through what you got to get through right now. And then we're going to circle back. And he was just like, I literally can't believe you said that to me. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I just feel like everybody else would be like pushing me to buy. I go, well, that's because they're salespeople and I'm here for a relationship. I'm here to make a relationship with you that's going to last a lifetime, not to make one sale and then you hate me because it was the most stressful situation of your life. I said, that's not the way that I conduct business. And he appreciated that. And I think, that's kind of where real estate agents get that used car salesman reputation, is because a lot of them just want that sale. They want that sale. But you really have to think about what's best for your client sometimes.
I told something to one of our clients this week. We are never going to let you go under contract on a home that we wouldn't buy. Maybe we wouldn't live there, but we wouldn't buy. Because we have some homes like that.
We have different tastes.
But an investment is an investment.
Right.
And also on the loan side, those loan officers are not going to allow you to get into a loan that you don't qualify for.
Right.
Like if you are, let's say, approved for $300,000 and you want to go $320,000, at the end of the day, the client's going to do what they want to do. But your role as a lender is to be like, well, did you think about this? And that's why I always recommend, it's not just real estate and loan officer. It's CPA, it's attorneys, it's, your family, it's your spouse. Okay.
Oh yeah, you got to ask him.
Hey, you guys can't buy a home without your spouse signing. Okay. You can't get away with that. I'm sorry. Not in the state of Nevada, at least. You must sign a quit claim deed. But, I think those factors come into play in the fear of the mindset of what could be or what would be, or, my home is, lost equity, or, all these stressors are normal.
They're normal.
They are things that...
But you do have to be in the emotional state of mind to deal with it, because it will make you absolutely insane for sure.
Yeah, we're just crazy people.
Yeah. And on the lending side, I did want to put in, we briefly talked about this yesterday. Kelsey mentioned it. If we put you in a loan that you default on, we have to pay back our commission. So we are not going to willingly put you into a loan that we know you can't afford. We want to make sure that you're going to be comfortable and you're going to be able to make those payments. So, listen to your lender, because we will try and stretch it as much as possible for somebody, but we're not going to make it happen to where you're not going to be able to pay your bills. That's just it's not good for anybody.
Well, and I feel that, and, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a lender, but I kind of experience a little bit on the real estate agency side, is they got to trust you. 100%. So if you don't trust your lender, you probably need a new lender.
Yes.
Because, that's the person who is fiduciary, responsible with you to decide what decision you want to make.
Yeah.
Based on their programs, right? And everybody has different programs, and we can compare programs and see what's the best rate for you, or what the deal is. But at the end of the day, if you can't call your lender and ask them these questions or speak to them about these questions, not that they're not available, but to get the information that you need, it's a difficult thing to process.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand from a lending side, unless you have a contract in your hand, it's really tough for a lender to actually give you numbers.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, how much is it going to be, the lender's general, outlook on it, and this is just my opinion as a realtor, I'm not a lender or an attorney, is that you're approved, right? So whatever is under that, what we know is that you can afford it.
Right.
Do you want to? That's a different question.
Right.
Yeah. Because I think that people get so caught up in $400,000 mortgage, $600,000 mortgage, $700,000 mortgage, and they're just like, oh my gosh. And maybe these mortgage payments are anywhere between $2,800 to $3,600, but their rent is $3,000.
Right.
So I just think that there's a mindset shift when you do become a homeowner from a renter, and decide if that's something that you emotionally can handle. But what I've noticed, because my sister just turned 40 this year, 40 and fabulous, is that, you get to your 40s, and not her, but, some of the people she grew up with and went to college with or whatever, they didn't buy. So they turn around and they're trying to make up from 10 years of equity that all these other homeowners built.
Right.
Because not that they weren't ready, but there is I hear this all the time from first-time home buyers, I'm not going to live here. I'm not going to live here in Vegas. I'm not going to be here a long time. And then 15 years later, they're still here.
Yeah.
And you can't go back in time.
Right.
So all you can do is see where you're at and what your long-term goals are. Because, I'm very guilty of thinking too much in the future and not being here in the present. But it is something to consider, right? Especially with people's parents getting older.
Yeah.
So if you have parents that are aging, or maybe they're in the process or stage in their life where they need more assistance, maybe their two-story doesn't work for them anymore, those are things to consider as far as your long-term goals, because when you're 70 years old and your rent goes up, who's going to pay?
Right.
Social Security's not going to pay.
Right. Because your income doesn't increase.
Your
Stays
income
the
doesn't
same.
increase. So
Yeah.
I think that's always something mindful to keep in the back of your head, because I just think sometimes when you're a consumer, right, and you see other people buying homes, you're going to base off of their experience.
Right.
So whatever they experience with buying homes, you're going to trust that because you trust them.
Right.
Right. But also, I think there's another side to the coin where maybe you just didn't ask the right people. Because sometimes, the used car salesman vibe, and I think I get this kind of very often, that I don't look like a realtor. We don't look like realtors. I don't know what we're supposed to look like. We look like humans. I don't know. When you see us carrying lockboxes and backpacks, does that make us look like realtors? I'm not sure. But there is this sort of ego a part of it, right? Just because you get a pre-approval, it's not at the dollar amount you want. It doesn't mean you're not amazing.
Right.
That's just whatever money you're making right now. And you need to make more money.
Right.
And, back in 2008, 2007, they were just hand-in loans. Today is not like that.
No.
So when your mortgage lender asks you for paperwork or documentation, it's not because they're like, let me find out what's going on. It's because they need it to give you the pre-approval letter.
Yeah.
They can't just give you money.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Well, and if you want to get approved for more, you can always pay down some debt, and then that'll free up some money to get you more. I think the thing is, a lot of people will look at their total debt and think that goes against the pre-approval. It's the monthly payment. So one of the fastest ways is taxes. If you can find a house that has cheaper taxes, then you can buy a bigger house. There are certain areas that have lesser tax, amounts. So there's ways to get around that, but you really do have to pay attention. If a lender just tells you you're approved for $400,000, but they don't break down the payment for you, and then you go and find a $400,000 house, but the taxes are double what they approved you for, you're no longer pre-approved. So you've got to really know a pre-approval fully. You can't just hear, oh, I'm approved for $400,000. Well, what does that mean? You're pre-approved with $400,000. How much of an HOA did they factor in it? How much taxes did they factor in it? And what did they quote your insurance? Because if you don't know those three, and those three numbers happen to be double what they approved you for, and you put an offer on a house, you're not getting approved.
Yeah.
So really, being with a lender who educates and makes sure that you fully understand what an approval is, because $400,000, that does not tell the story. That's like 1/4 of the story. So you really got to dig in deep in that.
And it's okay to not understand.
Yeah.
Right?
Just got to ask questions.
Yeah, just ask questions, and your lender is always able to answer those questions. Your realtor can always make English of it because they speak another language. But I think the fear of, the amount that they're applying for a 30-year mortgage, like you feel like you're kind of like getting arrested.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh, like I need to pay this. But let's say that it doesn't work out, you sell it.
You do.
And you can always buy another home.
Yep.
So,
Or you can go
in
back to
time.
renting and throwing money away out the
Yeah.
window. Whatever you want.
I mean, listen, some people have to rent sometimes. Some people it makes more
Yeah.
sense depending on what you do for work and, what that life is like. If you're a VA, I see that happen very often because they're like, I got
Always
0%
moving.
down payment.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm good.
Yeah, yep. And that's another thing. It's amazing to me how many VA do not realize that. Like I'll talk to them and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to save my VA loan." What are you saving it for? They think that it's like a one-time deal. Like you can buy VA loan, you can buy a home on a VA loan over and over again. You don't have to like save it. Like they're waiting for this $1 million house that they're going to buy one day. Buy a $250,000 house on a VA loan. Do it. Like.
Yeah.
Don't let that stop you. Those benefits for VA are so amazing. Like if you have them and you're not using them, I want to smack you in the head because you should be using it.
I should have served my time. I go back in time all the time. Like, I should have served. I would have had 0%
Right?
down payment for the rest of my life.
No mortgage insurance.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Well, and also, I think for veterans in specific, or active duty, they just don't know.
They don't.
And
Yeah.
that's okay. But connecting with people who can help you understand or help you learn the benefits of owning a home here if you are going to be stationed for a few years. Because the biggest concern that I hear from VAs is like, what if I get TDY'd?
Right.
Or what if I go overseas? Luckily you work for the federal government and there are ways that we can create a plan for you.
Absolutely.
If that happens, right?
Right.
I can't predict if interest rates will go higher. I can't predict if interest rates will go lower. And I can't predict if you're going to get TDY'd.
Right.
But all we can do is see if you qualify right now, if this affordable monthly payment makes sense for you, and if you have enough money to close.
Yeah.
Because if you do, then why not?
Absolutely.
Moving,
it.
we don't do. We don't do moving.
We can refer people to
We can
you.
refer the best people.
But I am not.
We
We
are
tried
not
moving around a kitchen the other day and
Yeah.
yeah.
We
And now
had a
with your
dolly
bum
and
knee
everything.
and your bum knee, you're not moving
Yeah, I know.
anything.
We started a Galindo group soccer team. We
And
won.
Zeddy thinks she's
We
12
won.
again.
Yeah, it was funny. The guy that was there, he was like, "Didn't you start playing when you were like 25?" And I was like, "I'm still 25. What are you talking about? What you mean?" And he was like, I was like, "Oh, okay, bye." That was good though. I love soccer, any sports in general. There's something about teamwork that like really. I don't know, I'm very passionate about it. I feel like that's why we make a great team, and all of our, team realtors and loan officers are very team oriented because there's just something about going through good times and going through hard times together as a unit is a lot stronger when you're out of that scenario.
Right.
Compared to a solo person.
Absolutely.
Because, the W's are amazing, but the L's are hard. And when you're by yourself, it's not as easy.
I think more people give up when they're by themselves
Yeah.
than when you have a team surrounding you, because you do have that team to lift you up and be like, all right, on to the next, but if you're by yourself, you almost feel like, ugh, what should I be doing this? Is this really for me? And I would say that this kind of correlates to real estate too, like having a really good team around you to support you, because you're going to have deals that you lose, right? You put an offer on, you lose it to somebody else. You put another offer on, you lose it to somebody else. It can be like, oh, maybe it's just not for me. Maybe I just should give up and stop by. No, keep going. It's
Yeah.
out there. Don't let that stop you from your dream. And I think just team atmosphere in anything is super powerful.
I also love the idea of giving them expectations of what it'll be like, because they're only basing their emotional ideas of what real estate truly means to them based on what they hear. And what they hear might be different, right?
Right.
Maybe they hear that this person lost a house, or maybe they hear that the mortgage didn't make sense, but what they don't realize is maybe they're fiscally qualified and they have great credit, and they are not in the same scenario as their friend or
Right.
their family member.
Right.
Not that it's bad, but each person's so different. Like, I think it's interesting from a loan officer standpoint when people ask, like, am I approved? Like, that's a very open-ended question.
Wow. Yes. There's a lot of filters in there.
Like, well, great question. Like, well, what do you want? what do you
Right.
want to buy? Because I think what they do is they're so fearful, they don't actually take a step.
Right.
Same with entrepreneurship, right? Everyone's like, wow, you do this team and you do all these things and, you're successful and you do this stuff. It's because we don't give up.
Right.
We don't give up when we don't get our offers accepted. We don't give up when our houses sit on market. We don't
Right.
give up when, I have a bum knee.
She can't walk.
I can't walk. It's fine. I'll be on the soccer field next month. But real estate really is a push through type of industry. And sometimes the L makes more sense than continuing to struggle.
Right.
Right? And that's a conversation that we can always have.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully you guys got something out of this podcast. We sure did. Join us next week and go Lions.
Bears. That's a wrap for this episode of the Sneaker Homegirls podcast.
We appreciate you tapping in and rocking it with us. Real estate, hustle, and sneakers, that's what we do.
If you got value from this episode, make sure to hit that like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode.
Follow us on Instagram at The Sneaker Homegirls for behind-the-scenes content, market updates, and of course, sneaker drops.
Let us know in the comments what topics you'd like for us to cover next. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, keep hustling, stay fresh, and we'll catch you on the next episode.